That man alone just ruined and took away thousands of jobs, all because of his selfishness. Don't get me wrong, the cost of living is high, but some people were comfortable at their job, or they were making way with this as their second job. And you went ahead and burned down an entire facility because of your own personal reasons.
Hey, quick question. When I ask my boss for a raise, should I tell him that the guy who burned down the toilet paper factory makes more than I do? Is that a good idea or no? Let me know.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So I'm sure by now you've already seen the news about the warehouse that was lit on fire. An employee was actually accused of starting a fire in a warehouse. And then there is also some reports about other places being on fire too. I think in the span of like 3 days, all these things started happening in different areas. Of course, this actually sparked a lot of conversation, people having different opinions. You know, there are a lot of people who feel like that was a stupid decision because now this is costing people their jobs, as a lot of people will go without a job now because of that. And as this is something that's starting to happen in a lot of places, it's making many people actually talk about this. But before we get right into this video and check it out, please make sure you click the like button. It helps the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
The revolution might be happening. Got a warehouse fire in Ontario, warehouse fire in New York, warehouse fire in Bakersfield, Amazon warehouse fire in Ohio. I think there's a couple others that I'm not keeping up. If only you paid us a livable wage. All the people out there complaining about the people losing their jobs in the warehouse fires, fuck you. You're the same motherfuckers that would have complained back in the day when we were protesting the 40-hour work week in the United States. In fact, I just see nothing but people complain about protesting in general. Or actually, protesting makes a point and changes people's lives forever. Me, my own community is a perfect example. Without the Stonewall protests, we wouldn't even have the LGBTQIA plus community as it is today. Specifically without trans black women. Something tells me we're not done with the warehouse fires. Just a hunch. Because only if you had paid us a livable wage. And I'm pretty sure everyone is fucking over corporate America at this point. Like, over it. People are starting to realize that there are more of us than there are of them. And the only thing that they care about is their profits, not the people. So if you burn down the profits, the people will find other jobs. Companies have insurance. And the message really sends. I'm not condoning it or encouraging it, but I am saying it makes a point. Just food for thought.
I've seen news of at least 3 other warehouse fires since the first warehouse fire that happened. And I think the thing that sticks out to me the most is the fact that in all of these fires, there are no casualties being reported. To be fair, I did hear about one person with injuries, but outside of that, for the most part, all of the workers are ending up okay. And the reason I find it so significant is because it subverts how capitalism has traditionally worked, because usually it's human lives that are being lost to capitalism. It is human lives that are being lost to somebody else's greed. It's human lives that's being lost to somebody else's ability to acquire or develop or sell a product. But in these cases with these warehouses, it's the products that are being lost for the sake of human lives. I even saw a press conference featuring, I guess, the C-suite of the people who own the warehouse, and they were talking about like, oh, you know, we're gonna bring him to justice, he's going to be in jail for a very long time. Not once did they even mention that they were happy that everybody got out okay. Maybe they did talk about it and I just missed it, but what I saw was them talking about the losses that they took financially, which was just around $750 million with a B. But the thing about that though is that $750 million still doesn't equate to one human life. So I don't know what we're supposed to do here, and I don't know how bad I'm supposed to feel for the owners of this warehouse.
You notice how the news is talking about the worker that burned down that warehouse? All he said was, you should have paid us enough to live. You notice how they're not talking about how much he's being paid or the cost of living in that area? Really makes you think. I don't know, I think what he did was pretty effective.
All those fucking marches, man. It took 6 warehouses, and Sam Altman's out here talking about universal health care for 4-day work weeks. Fucking I'm telling you, I love No King's protests, I do, but you want change, start burning their shit down.
Since America is becoming a place where you can just basically do whatever you want, I just want to remind these fire insurance companies that during the LA fires, y'all pulled out and y'all didn't pay up. And so in the same vein, I mean, all these warehouse fires are requesting like hundreds of millions of dollars. I got a proposition for you. Y'all can save some more money.
The guy that set that California warehouse on fire and then him saying all you had to do was pay us enough to live. Now, baby, I don't agree with what he did. I don't agree with him, setting the fire. But what I can agree with is his frustration. A lot of these employers out here in the U.S. are not paying their employees enough to make ends meet. We are constantly facing high prices for everything. Jobs are scarce these days as it is. So I get his frustration with not being paid enough because, again, everything is high, from our groceries, from our health care, from our energy costs. Everything is high. And how are people able to make ends meet if these jobs that we're working or everybody is working, they're not paying enough? It's frustrating. So I get his frustration, but I don't agree that he set the place on fire. I don't agree with that.
Good morning to the man that burnt down that warehouse. They said the paper product alone was worth $500 million. That's just one warehouse. It was 20 employees in that warehouse. Y'all got $500 million worth of product. Y'all could have paid them folks more. Now, and I think they said the building worth $120 million. So y'all out $720 million. And you gotta scrap all that. You gotta scrap that. You gotta start from the foundation. Shout out to that man.
They are hoping that worker burning down millions of miles of factory because they're not being paid is going to be a micro trend. It's not. It's actually what happens when you prove to people their words don't matter. When I can elect you to be a public servant and you can come out of a meeting and go la 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 when I give you my grievances. When I show you article after article of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people losing their jobs because you outsource them to a computer that doesn't do the job better, it just saves you money. But when the cost of Netflix is up, YouTube is up, food prices are up, rent is up, gas is up. Don't be surprised when people say if it's up, then it's stuck. We're sending billions of dollars to foreign bodies that don't want to fight their own wars. But you haven't had a raise that was more than $1 in 5 to 7 years. Your car payment is almost $1,000 a month. You haven't had insurance in almost a decade. And the CEO of the company you work for's salary is $29 million. While your tax dollars pay for $1 million missiles that get launched at children. That dude throwing the Molotov at Sam Altman's house, the fire being set at that factory, this is reality coming to a head because you guys are delusional. You guys think that there's enough Netflix and enough TV to keep everyone pacified until you realize there's no pacifying being homeless, facing eviction, daily starvation. Even the slowest of us are not going to be focused on TV when we can't afford to live. These events are not blips. They're signs of things to come. This is a warning. There are no peaceful negotiations with people whose response to you is sheer violence. When you gradually create multiple generations of people with nothing to lose, decreasing jobs, decreasing wages, a decreasing ability to purchase homes, and a destabilized, unsustainable way of life, they're going to respond. Grown man, by the way. Don't believe me? Watch this. There's no threatening people with a loss of wages, a loss of employment, or a loss of high quality of life when they don't have any of those things. You're going to see this happen way more. Good.
I hate to say it, but the warehouse worker was more effective than the No King's March, okay? Because they can't ignore that. They're going to feel that. That hurts their bottom line. The only thing they care about.
I think it has begun, folks. I think it has begun. Another warehouse in Queens, New York is now ablaze. I think the class war has begun.
Hey, let's talk about that guy who lit that warehouse on fire. I was watching like press coverage on that, and not that I didn't have any sympathy before for the guy because they weren't paying him enough. They told the story that the guy lit the warehouse on fire, and then they continued to say, hey, they evacuated all 20 people in the warehouse. Did you see the size of that warehouse? Yeah, so if that wasn't really context clue of how people are living today, 20 people, like, just hauling all of that inventory, or keeping an eye on it. Granted, you're not moving all of that inventory, but what I am saying is that if there was only 20 people inside that warehouse, you'd imagine that a company like that would pay their workers a little bit more. You know, that guy saw the opportunity, saw all the paper products, and decided he was pissed off enough that he would light the entire place on fire. Dude's racked up like plenty of felonies, I'm sure. Like, you have to be completely hopeless to do something like that. I don't know if there's words to describe it. Like, that's a beyond a call for help.
And somebody also said New Jersey for another warehouse fire. So that is literally California, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I'm getting comments and reports in right now that there have been 5 different warehouse or storefront fires in the last 3 days. This shit is fucking wild. Holy 6. I think that's 6 because it's 2 in California, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. And again, I'm trying to find these items online right now, but like I don't think the news cycle has caught up fast enough to it. So like, class war 2026 shit.
Everybody fucking wants change until somebody sets a fucking warehouse on fire, rightfully fucking so, and then here y'all go. Well, all I care about is the people that lost their job. You didn't give a fuck about the 600,000 motherfuckers that lost their job the last year. Ooh, let's Nepal and let's act like the French until motherfuckers start doing it, and then here you come sympathizing with the fucking people causing harm? Grow a fucking pair, shut the fuck up.
Americans need to stop with the mythology of they should just work harder, placing the blame on the employees. Can you please sit with your own delusion? Do people need to work harder, or do companies that are making billions of profit need to pay their employees who help them make the billions in profit a living wage? For example, on average, Kimberly-Clark employees get paid $23, $24 an hour, which equals to about $45,000, $47,000 a year. A livable wage just isn't an economic issue, it's a health issue. Psychological safety requires a baseline of felt security, and if you can't meet basic needs, you don't have that security. The finger shouldn't point at one. This is a both and, employees and employers. Is it humane when employers pay employees a non-livable wage and make billions?
People aren't just burning down buildings and warehouses anymore. They're taking spray foam and they're flushing it down the toilets in these big corporations like Sam's and Walmart and Target and things like that. And one thing you should know about spray foam is that once it gets in the pipes or anywhere, it hardens like a rock. So they're having to call these plumbers. And it's getting really expensive because they have to replace all the toilets and bust open the concrete and get new lines for all the bathrooms in these places. And it's just so crazy. But the worst part is that the CEOs don't know who's doing it because it's in the bathroom and they can't record in the bathroom. All they're finding is notes on the stall saying you should have paid us a livable wage and this wouldn't have happened. But what they're really upset about is that their customers are really pissed off because they can't use the bathrooms in their stores. I can't believe that's happening. I thought, burning down warehouses was bad, but this is pretty bad too. My gosh.
This is just a reminder on how far people are willing to go when you underpay them and overwork them.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to... There goes your inventory.
Imagine getting paid $18 an hour in Southern California to work in this giant factory with only 20 people. He set fire to a Kimberly-Clark toilet paper warehouse, and if you think about it, each unit of toilet paper runs upwards of $15 to $20. And this happened to them allegedly because he wasn't being paid a livable wage. This is not like a small mom and pop toilet paper company. This is like a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company. Michael Su, who is the CEO of Kimberly-Clark, makes $15 million every single year. It is seriously only just a matter of time before more things like this start happening, because at this point people are getting tired and they have nothing to lose. Follow to hear stories that most don't talk about.
The paper product alone that was inside of the warehouse was worth $500 million. The building itself was worth $150 million. In addition to count one, we filed an additional 6 more counts as it related to each separate fire that was started by the suspect in this particular case.
This morning, we're announcing that we are also filing federal charges against Mr. Abdul Karim with arson, which carries a 5-year mandatory minimum federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. According to the federal complaint that we have filed, the defendant on early Tuesday morning filmed himself setting fire to multiple pallets of paper goods inside the Kimberly-Clark warehouse here in Ontario. This company's products include Kleenex and Huggies and are used nationwide, being sold and shipped through interstate commerce, which provides us federal jurisdiction over this case. The defendant repeatedly boasted of his crimes. He posted Instagram videos showing himself lighting the merchandise on fire in the warehouse. He said, quote, "You know, if you're not going to pay us enough to effing live or afford to live, at least pay us enough to not do this." So not only is he now facing state charges, the state will be proceeding first. He's in state custody. He'll be arraigned on his state charges. He now has a federal charge. He has a federal arrest warrant. So when he's done with the state, he'll come to us. And we look forward to ensuring that Mr. Abdul Karim is behind bars for a very long time.
And to the employee that burned down the warehouse in California, that's the most patriotic thing that I've seen in over the last year. Yeah, since Luigi. Yeah, 100%. Y'all don't understand that that is the equivalent to the Boston Tea Party. So to those of you who are saying, oh, but people lost their jobs during the Boston Tea Party, and guess what? America ended up winning their independence from Great Britain. So what are we complaining about? What are we not trying to make an impact to where we can stop being controlled by billionaires and elites in Israel? Do we not want that? Like, oh, but not at the cost of somebody's sacrifice has to be made. Right now, our tax dollars are bombing little girls. It's bombing civilians and random people, bridges, and all this kind of stuff right now. Everybody's infrastructures, oil plants, and now look at us suffering with the price of gas, which is never going to come back down, by the way. All at the hands of these elites and rich. And we have somebody who's moving patriotic. That is patriotism. How do you think this country started? It didn't start with talking to Great Britain and say, hey, can you stop giving us a 2% tax? No, we fought for it. Just like the black community fought for their freedom. Everybody has to fight. There's going to be sacrifices. That's just how it goes. So to those of you who keep wanting to do a dumbass protest and just walk around the streets with your fuck-ass signs and your little frog costumes, you're part of the problem because you're not making an impact. You're just playing around in the streets wasting folks' time. Do something that fucking impacts and matters so we can actually get away and actually have some fun in life.
If you pay close attention to this whole situation, I realize that people are not actually just reacting to this particular incident. I feel like people are reacting to what they are personally experiencing. This whole thing didn't just, create frustration. It actually exposed something that has been there lying in people's hearts for so long and what people are actually going through. And as you know, this has definitely sparked a lot of debate. And when I say debate, this is a serious debate coming from many people, like debating about this particular situation. As you can see from the video, you can see how many people have different interpretation about all this situation, where you have people having different thoughts. As this particular thing went so viral and a lot of people are starting to connect the whole thing to a bigger picture, where people are starting to have conversation about the wages. Some are starting to have conversation about that is absolutely wrong because of how destroying a person's property and also risking other people's life is dangerous and how terrible that is. So you clearly have seen how this is actually making people actually talk and dive deeper into the topic, and people have different ways to interpretation to the whole thing and what they think about it. This whole thing gives you a clear picture about people's mindset and where it is. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. What do you think about this video? Please don't forget to click the like button. It helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.